So maybe he wants to sort of take a page from JRX and play that grenade and far-away gameplay style that lends the Snake. But we're seeing an Inkling?
An Inkling coming out.
What?
Hold on. A battle of semi-aquatic life. Got the frogs and apparently the squids. Winner goes on. Loser goes back into the swamp from whence it came.
Missed. Okay, they didn't pick either. I mean, that was an intended pick, so I think it's something. Oh, he has the JRX tag. That's why. I just realized it.
Yeah, in fact, that is it.
Yeah. Hey, first attempt. All right.
Let's go.
That was sick.
Oh, my God.
You know, we're harkening back to a couple years here, but Stu just got a bottle flip frame 1. He'll be sure probably to post that on some social media, I bet. But
it's crazy how consistently I would get that. Just because I actually used to do that at wrestling events. Like during the main event, like I would have recorded a little bit of the action and then I would just do a bottle flip. So if Jeff Mitchell would always get on me for that. So Jeff, he's a big fan of the Monster Factory over in Paulsboro. Jeff, if you were watching, that was for you, buddy.
Aw.
I'm sending that to you right now.
Nice shout out there.
Absolutely, man.
And speaking of bottle flip, like you said before, the aquatic nature, there's water in that bottle, and right now the only thing coming out of the gun of the Inkling is ink, and just coating the Greninja in it, already racking up 70 damage. Yeah.
If you know anything about Inklings, you would know why this is a terrible counter pick to a water-type Pokemon.
It's true. The way they fall off those stages, they drown in the water.
They literally dissolve.
They dissolve, yeah.
Like, this is actual acid to them. Anyway.
They are soluble.
Yeah, you're telling me. Like, it really does make you wonder. Like, so is it literally just like a mass, like, death every time it rains? Oh, my God. Raining terror from below, ironically enough, is Sabo. And the back air almost killing Sabo at 139%. However, makes it back. Going to try to get that extra credit. JM1-3 getting a little thirsty with that roller. Sabo knew he was working for it.
Right now getting that chain. 139 and almost takes out. I mean, if he had a little bit more rage or just a little more damage on JM1-3's end, that up air could have taken it out, and we could have been looking at a 3-1 situation. And we still might, the way that Sabo is just locking down stage and chasing off with that Shadow Sneak. And he gets that 3-1 situation that I was talking about. 139 and JM1-3 hard pressed to get this first stock off of Sabo.
It appears that it's going to be a little difficult for him to get the second stock off at the very least. Eventually cleans up the first, but Sabo playing a nigh upon flawless game, really. Just in terms of initial game plan, execution. Yeah, you know there are things you can improve, but isn't that the case for all of us? JM1-3 trying to keep things going in his favor.
Nearly full code on jab too. But landing there with Sabo, going to get himself back to stage relatively easily. Yeah. And Shuriken's doing their work.
And he did so well. He did so well in that last set, winning it 3-1 over JRX. But he is struggling here. It makes you wonder if this Inkling pick just isn't paying off the way that he thought it would.
Not entirely. He seems a little hard-pressed to find stocks in the end, but he is getting damage just because of the way that Inkling's coat lends. I think it's actually more knockback, my fault. But, I mean, he's still finding the opportunity to get things like jab in that'll rack up damage relatively quickly.
And again, going for that roller on the ledge, Sabo catches it. He has the options to two-frame at ledge. So, I mean, JM1-3 going to have to be a little bit more careful. Saves that up B for just the right time. It's going to be met with a roller to the face. Will Sabo. But again, with a full stock lead, I doubt he minds.
Falls out of the up air, too. That potentially could have been the end of the round. And that, the fair...
I mean, you called it eventually.
Yeah. One move be damned, but another one will take the place of it.
And that will indeed be game number 1 in favor of Sabo. I mean, he's been messing around with Greninja for quite some time, and this is a character with a bit of a history.
Since Smash 4 even, too.
Oh, yeah, since Smash 4, you're absolutely right, and kind of coming back to it is a little bit of a homecoming. Greninja has had its successes here in Philadelphia, obviously 10 on the PR, and who newly moved to Seattle. We wish him all the best.
Yes.
And also, this has been toyed with by 6WX in the early days of the game. He was working on a Greninja as he was on that search for a new main after losing, not really losing faith in Sonic, but trying to figure out if there was a more optimal option that could win him tournaments. I mean, remember, he was said that he was kind of waiting for Joker to come out.
Yeah.
And then started picking up, obviously, the king of the Phantom Thieves. Ironically enough, it's a Joker that waits in grand finals with Illusion's very own Enzo, Philadelphia #3. But it's a man who has since superseded 6WX, weirdly enough. We'll see for how long. But JM1-3 right now seems to be handling Sabo. Seems to have learned his lesson from the last game. Giving himself a little bit of space with Town and City.
And even stick to your guns. Like you said before, Inkling not doing a whole lot, so resorting back to the Palutena to get a lot more options as Greninja comes in close, getting the back air to take out that first stock on him. And at 67, I mean, even with 67 damage on, he's pressuring Greninja off that that platform, where a whole lot of Greninjas, you know, they find themselves relatively at home in the air. And if he could have fallen down fair, he could have got back on stage relatively easy. But the flood of options that JM1-3 put out just made Sabo realize that he's not going to back down, even though he has the stock advantage. But he will be able to take out, finally, nice aerial on Sabo to make it a 2-stock. But at 67%, like we said before, Palutena finally putting in the work for JM1-3 against him.
Occurring 90 seconds into the match, which is nigh upon an eternity. For a game such as this.
Especially with how fast like Greninja moves, you expect a whole lot of fast takeouts. But he builds up time, and Palutena can just whip it out and strike with that fair. And very quickly, it goes the way of JM1-3.
Yeah, JM1-3 could be finding his rhythm here. Could be finding a Palu in Grands if he's not careful. He will have to win 3 games as opposed to Sabo's 2 at this juncture. But I can see if Sabo does lose this, we're going to a smaller stage. I think that's not going to be for granted, because JM1-3 is pretty aggressive, but he still wants to take advantage of every single thing that Palutena has to offer. You can't really do that when you have a ninjutsu frog in your face.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're known for their speed, and they're known for their craftiness and getting around opponents to take them out. But when you have the multi-hits to cover the area around you, that makes it very hard for them. Right now, back air going to make Sabo resort to a high then low recovery. And much like his other previous matches, I guess Sabo is aware that JM1-3 tends to go for the down tilt, but the explosive flame going to do the edge guarding just fine.
And it's a 2-stock victory for JM1-3 this time around. Shu is on the other foot. I have to see if Sabo can get off the back foot here. Maybe put his best foot forward for game number 3. I'm going to stop now, and we're just going to contemplate this counter pick instead.
I don't think...
Sure,
yeah.
Okay. So
Final D probably his best pick, actually.
So, yeah, you do want to take away, generally speaking, against Palutena, you want to take away the platform. Just because I'm honestly shocked that this wasn't banned. Just considering, because he's expecting, I'm guessing that JM1-3 was expecting, yeah, he's going to want to, he's going to want a smaller stage just so he can work with whatever he can on the ground. But he says, you know what? I'm going to take away your aerial options. I know you're trying to goad me into. Because JM1-3, he does play the meta game very, very well. He does. He's very smart with his bans.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, he knows how to, even just coming down to everything on the menu. If he can toy with you on the character select screen, if he finds a way to do that, he will do it. We have seen that instances of that in the past. And dash attack is caught by JM1-3 again, trying to build up that mental fortress that's going to be on Sabo to make like Strider and try to penetrate.
And really, the final D pick having the...
I know about Strider here. Who you think I am? Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to have to step away as Avocado and Stu
the
get
games
into it.
themselves, too. Like,
yeah.
Strider 2 is an actual masterpiece. And speaking of masterpieces, JM1-3 with a big stroke of the brush while on his way to painting himself one. trying to put himself one game closer to a date with Enzo in Grants.
And yeah, things like up smash for Greninja and up air. The final D pick is actually going to lend to that. It has a relatively smaller ceiling. My gosh, I am all over the place tonight. Blast zone compared to other stages, and that lends a little more towards Greninja. It does as well for Palu, but not a whole lot because her up air is very circumstantial. In terms of taking out.
I got cereal on the brain too, dude. I don't blame you.
I could go for a bowl of peanut butter Captain Crunch right now.
Absolutely, man. And oops, all berries. That was intentional. Like, they meant to put all berries.
Right. We know your marketing schemes.
Yeah, no. Don't lie to us, Captain.
There's a little more credit than that.
Gonna be a down throw, trying to keep this Greninja in checks, and now. Never let me make puns again.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a pro pun commentator, so I think you'll find a bum deal with that promise.
Sorry. I was about to say like I sell pro pun and pro pun accessories. But I couldn't bring myself.
That would have been amazing.
I couldn't bring myself to do it.
I would have been gasping for air if it.
Oh man.
Oh well.
Oof. Not pocket sand that he's throwing out, but instead the water shurikens. Dash attack by JM1-3, however. Decent little response. And trying to build up this damage. He wants to get to this game 4 as quickly as possible. He wants to, he wants to, at the very least, dare him to take him to a stage with a platform such as a Smashville.
Fair doing the work there for Sabo, but at 90%. And looming Palutena on the stage, able to circumvent it actually to get around, but going to leave him wondering how he's going to close the spacing in on Palutena to get the damage he needs to turn this around. Fair. I mean, he's doing a great job just keeping Palutena relegated to that right side. And JM1-3 throwing out options, things like Explosive Flame that when Sabo was very far away, where it wasn't going to hit him in the first place.
And it's funny how he's almost lulling Sabo into that false sense of security, having his back to the ledge, but then throwing out that Explosive Flame straight in the face of Sabo, who now sits at 149%. And a lot of that was because Sabo got a little too cute with his approaches, and now it's going to be the dash attack that kills off of the top and ends this game number 3. JM1-3 finds himself one game away from Grands. And now Sabo, it's his pink oily back up against the wall. I guess I should say Greninja's. I don't know what color Sabo's back is, but...
I mean, yeah. Thankfully, he comes dressed to every CodeName bear, so that will be a question that will be left unanswered for good reasons.
He's got that over me.
Was that, what, like 198 when I wasn't around?
We don't talk about it.
Okay, sure. I'll have to ask some people around here what happened on that fateful day.
Don't. Anyway, so it's game number 4. As we get things going, once again, the stage pick will once again be FD. Might as well challenge the guy. Hey, you know what? You want to take away my platform so bad, that's fine. I've proven that I can beat you without them. But Sabo sticking with the Greninja, I honestly respect that.
Yeah. I mean, both of these last couple games have been relatively close in terms of deciding a winner. And if Sabo can just make slight changes to his gameplay style, it could give him the favor that he needs to close it out. But both of these guys going relatively even, except for this edge guard and the Explosive Flame going up into the auto reticle. Not a whole lot of Palutenas actually do that. The chase up into the air.
Oh yeah, no, and that's JM1-3 for you. He will not. He does take that that first stock with the back air, but that's just indicative of JM1-3. Like, obviously, you use those projectiles to dictate movement sometimes to try to make them choose a path back to the stage or whatever. That's not JM1-3's style. He shoots to kill every single time. He'll try to hit you with that Explosive Flame. He'll try to hit you with that auto reticle. It's a very one-track mind, and that the means to the end is getting damage, and he fully recognizes that, does not lose sight of it. But as he gets caught in the blender by Greninja trying to make it back, unfortunately, you know what you do when the blender doesn't work? Sometimes you just got to slice it up by hand. Sabo, he will do so with those water kunai, courtesy of the up smash.
Right off of that, though, you see JM1-3 trying to pay down, but again, the way the sway of stocks go, when you lose one, you sort of have control of the match going forward until you take your opponents. Right now, Sabo seems to be doing just that. 72 now and climbing. And again, just leaving JM1-3 off to that right side. Looking for a down smash read. Not going to find it. Again, patience from JM1-3. Will be able to resort it. And really, it's when he knows that the Explosive Flame isn't going to kill is when he goes for the Auto Reticle just to get more damage on. So potentially the next one will.
Beautifully done, though.
That up air finally finding a KO. I think in this entire set. He tried before, but no stranger on the other side to the tools that Greninja needs to take stocks out. Another up smash will make it even.
Sabo, however, keeping himself right in this thing. He is down in terms of the numbers game, but there are things he can do to get himself right back into this thing. He will, excuse me, he will need patience, however. Goodness gracious me. Have you ever seen a set so exciting, it just makes you hiccup? Because that apparently just happened to me. I'm sorry. Like, I can't help it sometimes. And now all of a sudden, at 88%, did quite well for himself, but attacking on shield, that's going to get you punished every time.
And the trade-off, actually not a trade-off at all. 96 put on, lapping him in percents and charging back. JM1-3 trying to lock down stage, but again, the slick nature of Greninja will be able to slide past Palutena's edge guard. Air dodge just barely avoiding that fair, but he still has stage control. Trying to find that fair connection. He's throwing him out in the air so much that either JM1-3 realizes that's what he's going for, or he's trying to bait him into thinking that. But a back throw.
Not quite yet. He jumps, but he blew a jump by Palutena, and that's going to kill you every single time. JM1-3 set the trap, and it gets sprung on Sabo. JM1-3, the grand finals loser side.
Just the resurgence that he's been having. I mean, in rounds, not even sets, because he's been dominating in the sets right now, making them 2-1, and even going up against JRX too. He's just been controlling the flow of gameplay very, very solidly with Palutena. I mean, against like things like Mega Man.